today is the factors and events that affects a 100% permanent and total rating. Now, understand this here, family, that when you're dealing with this type of rating, it is a more protected rating, not the highest, but second to the highest. What the benefit is not just this, it's the second to the highest protected rating, it's the highest scheduler rating you can get with the most protections. All right, understand that, family. Now we got our brother Rose City D in the room. He say, good evening, H-Town vet, and salute to the chat. Now, brother Rose City D say, hi, Coach. Okay, they just speaking to each other. We'll put that little information if y'all speaking, and I'm gonna get to what I'm doing. Now, family, so understand that even though you have a 100% permanent and total rating, all right, we're gonna describe what that is, all right, that there are certain factors that can affect not just you losing it. Let's say you have to qualify. So there's certain factors. And if you don't have these factors, you don't even have 100% permanent total, even though you may think you do. So that's why we're covering this information tonight. All right. We're breaking it down so we don't have to keep telling you every time that we come through. But we want to keep it where it's fluid, of course, but we don't want to give out confusing information, because you can be reduced from 100% permanent total down to a 0%. And depending on what happens, you can lose your whole rating altogether, right? Yes. Well, you don't have no 0 rating either. Did you know that? Now, these are the topics that we're going to be covering. The factors that are affecting a permanent and total status. That's going to be eligible when you're eligible to CHAMP VA Dependents Educational System benefits. That's the first one we're going to cover. Then opening a new claim. We're going to cover that also. After that, we're going to talk about fail to attend a CMP exam. That's another one that affects your PNT status. 20 years rule, 20-year rule, time limit. Submitting false evidence is another thing. And finally, whether you're 20 years with it or not, this one is a game changer. Incarceration on a felony crime. That's going to affect it also. But many of these rules affect them in different ways. Okay? Now let's talk about it. Coach say, hi, Rose City. Now, let us continue. Family, and we want to give special thanks to Alaskan Ice for wanting to talk about this topic. So when y'all have any topics that y'all like to go over, let us know and remind me if I forget. Now, for more information, we actually have it on the levels of protection when it comes to your VA ratings, whether it be for 0% or 100%. Watch our video, levels of protection. We cover temporary ratings, 5-year rule, 10-year rule, 100% permanent and total, and the highest rating, having a rating for 20 years under the 20-year rule without any interruption. So that'll protect you whether you're 10, 0, 100. It'll protect your end, but we're going to talk about it in detail tonight. We also have a live stream on this very topic. And it seems to be very popular, the YouTube video. Let us continue. Now, dealing with what you got today, my brother, Coasty, because Coasty, let's pull Coasty what he said he has today. And we're so happy for him. For those of you just coming into the room, let me see what Coasty, he came greet and said, good evening, H-Town and family. I was blessed today with TDIU granted. Okay. Now, so using him as an example, what he has is a permanent rating. So let's talk about the 4 types of 100%. You got a temporary 100% that you'll get for like prostate cancer or any temporary, but you're scheduler, but it's temporary. You can get 100% permanent total, which is a scheduler rating, but it's permanent. There's two forms of unemployability. You got IU, which is individual unemployability, which is temporary. And you have TDIU, which is total disability individual unemployability, which is a permanent rating. So as you see, we have the two permanent ratings circled because that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit tonight with the TDIU, but in particular, the 100% PNT. But both of them fall under the same guidelines. There's just a little difference when you deal with any form of unemployability. And we're going to go over that now. Now, let us continue, family. So congratulations to our brother. We appreciate him. And when y'all get your 100%, let us know. No problem. Because you know it's all out there anyway. Everybody going through our files, they learn this stuff anyway. Now, let us continue. And we want to make that easier for you. Now, family. So as I was saying, brother, if you want more information, and anybody that has TDIU, because a few people in the room does, watch our video, Total Disability Individual Unemployability, and we go into detail about your rating. So we have the information. So we're not just putting out rehashing stuff just to get views. We're actually putting out solid information that can help you, all right? So watch that. Now, if you have TDIU, there's a little difference from 100% permanent and total. You just have TDIU permanent total. And let's talk about the difference here. When it comes to TDIU, any form of unemployability, but TDIU being permanent, it still has work restrictions, okay? There are work restrictions, work limits when it comes to it, because you are considered unemployable. Now, when it comes to work, what they say that you can't work above the poverty level, the federal poverty level, which is right now, from the information I have, $15,650. Now, if you have stocks, bonds, that's not working. If you have royalties off of land or oil, that's not working. They define work specifically, okay? So just understand that. These are the restrictions. I'm 100% permanent total. I don't plan on going back to working. Now, the first thing you do, if you do work, like, it has to be in a sheltered work environment, and they just changed the rules, making them more strict. Last year, we kind of went over them, and we'll go into more detail coming up here. But sheltered work environment means they have to accommodate your disability. Okay, you can work in a sheltered work environment, like letting you work less hours, letting you work by yourself because you don't like working in groups. It gives you anxiety, things of that sort. Now, here's the thing. You can work for a family business because that's considered a sheltered work environment. They'll let you work less hours. You may have to go to VA appointments. You may not like being bothered with other people. Your workload may be less. These are the things of dealing with a sheltered work environment. Give me a thumbs up if we sound good. Now we're going to talk about the 100% permanent and total rating that doesn't have the work restriction unless you're 100% permanent totals, they say, for a mental health condition, because that's total occupational and social impairment. But this is about to change because of the fact, under the new rules for mental health ratings, that if you have a 70 or 100% rating, they're not going to use the work restriction against you. So they say, we'll see it when it comes out. Our brother Rose City says it sounds good. Thank you. Because we want to make sure that the people who are watching this recorded, they get a quality experience also. Now, the first one that affects your 100% permanent total is the information that's on your award letter, the information that's on your decision letter, all this here. So what on your decision letter? So you'll know if you're permanent total now when you look at decision letter, but you can also verify on your award letter. Now that'll work if you're trying to get if you're trying to get it don't matter whether you're permanent total when you're trying to buy cars and stuff, but if you want to know for your own well-being, you look on there, it'll let you know. It'll tells you that you are, see it in red, you are considered to be total and permanent disabled due to your service-connected disability, and it says yes. If you have that on your award letter, you are permanent and total. But when you try to apply for CHAMP VA or Chapter 35, they're going to want to see not the award letter that you get every year, because this is the letter that's produced every year. They're going to want to see your actual decision letter. So you're going to say, well, hold on, y'all part of the VA too. Okay, they got to verify. I think we had to verify before my daughter could get the health care. All right. Now, I think that we had to do that. Now, here we go. So the first thing that shows that you're 100% permanent and total is your dependents qualify for CHAMP VA healthcare. If that's on your decision letter, that your dependents qualify for CHAMP VA healthcare, you're permanent and total. Now, understand this. They may not, through most of the letter, say that you're a permanent and total straight out. They tell you kind of on the slide, like, hey, you qualify for CHAMP VA healthcare. That's one way. You know you're permanent and total. Your dependents wouldn't qualify for it if they wasn't. And like I said, if your dependents qualify for CHAMP VA healthcare, not only should your back date, so Coasty, if you have any dependents that are younger, if they going to school or getting healthcare, they should be able to reimburse you for the healthcare back to your award effective date. All right. That's for educational always. Also, we're about to talk about another thing that shows permanent and total status. If they say you qualify for Dependents Educational Assistance Program, DEA Chapter 35 educational benefits. If that's on your decision letter, that means you qualify. Now, where do you look for this at? You look on your you look for it on your award letter. I mean your decision letter. On your decision letter, I have it in red toward the bottom and say basic eligibility to Dependents Educational Assistance is established from August the 15th, 2014. And we're talking about the hypothetical Mr. John Brown. Now, so that's, you look on there and that's your evidence. So go look and see if you if you have that on there, Coasty, because it should be the Chapter 35 educational benefits should be on there, or it should be DEA or the CHAMP VA, either one, or it may have both. That shows that you qualify. That's the first thing that affects your status. That shows you qualify. The second thing, this is the big one we talk about, is if you open up a new claim. You're 100% permanent and total, but you open up a new claim. You say H-Town vet. Coasty probably say, I'm just riding, I'm just taking it, I'm chilling, I got mine. Why would I want to open a new claim for it? Why would I do all that? That's doing the most. You may want to open up a new claim. If you do, it puts you at the risk of being reduced. So why would you do it, right? So that's what we're about to talk about here. So the first one is verifying permanent total status. The second one, through CHAMP VA Chapter 35 educational benefits. Number 2 is opening a new claim. That can affect your P&T status also. Now let's go. So a lot of people, when they get their 100% permanent total, TDIU permanent total rating, they just sit back and chill. They say, I ain't doing nothing. But some people open up claims. Why would they do that? Well, if you do decide to open up a claim, that will open you up. But why would somebody open up a claim when it might affect their 100% TDIU? Well, you're going to find there are legitimate reasons to do so. The PACT Act, for example, toxic exposure. So if you was exposed like in Vietnam, Desert Storm, or current Iraq War or Afghanistan, you were exposed to toxic chemicals. Like myself, we had burn pits and all that type of stuff. And we were exposed to some stuff that they exploded around us, telling us that it wasn't any chemicals in. And I said, how do they know? And come to find out years later, they sent us a letter from the VA, sent me a letter saying what? You was exposed to low levels of sarin gas. Really? But they say, we don't think it affected you. I got 2 letters. Yes, indeed. You think they give me a compensation for it? No. But you may want to open up a claim. And I only know one person they said that got reduced. And that was about 3 or 4 months ago. I heard somebody got reduced. Only one person got reduced when it comes to open up a claim for the PACT Act. So it might be worth it if you're going to get a payout or coverage in case you pass. Now, another reason people would do it would be VA special monthly compensation. Remember, this is extra money in addition to what you get at your 100% rate. Why? Because you have a condition that's extra scheduler, right? So something outside of that you may need more than that 100%. You may need extra money, they call it, because you have trouble getting out the bed, hygiene, eating, feeding yourself, clothing yourself, or other things. You might have a fear of leaving the house. You might be housebound. So these are the things that may motivate you to open a claim. You say, well, H-Town, I'm darned if I do, darned if I don't. Let's see. So in your mind, once you got that 100% permanent total, your case closed. That's what a lot of people thought. But then when you open up this new claim, they say we're gonna peep into their file, and you know what? While we're doing the claim for the PACT Act, we're gonna peep at that 100% and see if that 100% permanent total and see if things got better. But hold on, that ain't what y'all come here for. We gonna talk about it, family. Now you say, well, nah, quit that. Get me out the PACT Act. They say, no, now this exam for your 100% permanent total is mandatory. You can't chicken out now. Now, what they're going to be looking for is your severity level. They're looking to see if your condition has gotten better. Can't get any worse. You had 100% already. And if it stay the same, they're not going to mess with it. If it's gotten better, now here we go. So what in particular? So right now, if you're 100% permanent total, you at the highest severity level. Okay? But they're trying to see if you're still at that level. And by opening up a new claim, that gives them an opportunity to check on that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because don't pack up no PACT Act money or no special monthly compensation. Don't pass that up. Okay, family. Now, what are the things that they're going to be looking for? Substantial improvement. They can't just say that you improved a little bit. It has to be a substantial improvement. You couldn't barely walk, but now you're doing cartwheels. Your back was using a wheelchair. Now you break dancing. It has to be a substantial improvement. Okay? That's the key. Now, that's why I'm giving you the things you need to fight with. And it has to not just be substantial. You can't just do a break dance and move one time, then you hurt again and say, oh, I can't move. No, it has to be a continuous improvement. Meaning you going to the break dancing parties every week, every day. So that's showing continuous improvement of your back or whatever is affecting you. Now, so this is the biggest fear that a lot of veterans have, percentage reduction. So if they show this, that you can end up getting a percentage reduction if they show substantial improvement and continuous improvement. All right. Where else can you go and you get this information straight out and I'm not babbling to you? Come on, family. Now, this is the way you protect yourself. They might just caught you on a good hair day. All right. Now listen to me. Remember that all conditions fluctuate. Sometimes you're doing bad, real bad. Sometimes you're not doing it as bad. but you're always doing bad. Remember that. So they might catch you on a day where your back ain't bothering you as much. Your depression is not bothering you as much. Okay? So remember, that's what your argument would be if they try to reduce you. Have them, your representative, and you say conditions fluctuate, but the history of my condition shows it to be severe. Because this is what the law say, that a condition over time, they have to consider the whole medical record. They can't look at just one exam. They have to consider the whole record over time, because they tend to wing and wane, fluctuate. So always be prepared for them to do some slick stuff. Me too. So you might have some good hair days. So that exam catch you on that good hair day. Then you might not have went to the exam on your bad hair day when your condition is at its worst. Well, that's off the chain right there. Somebody need to get them a hot comb. I better stop picking on. Number 3, the third thing that will affect your 100% permanent total status is exams. Not going to a CMP exam. Okay? We'll talk about it. So that's the third thing. So if you're absent, that's a don't. Do not miss a CMP exam saying, I'm 100% permanent total. I ain't going to no exam. No, go to the exam. Try to fight before you get there and tell them whatever you need to tell them, given the evidence you need, but go to the exam. And at this point, you can't do this where you just go to outside doctor. You can do one for an outside doctor, but still go to this one, because they're going to propose to reduce you. They might just reduce you if you don't go to it. But if you go to it, if they say you've gotten substantial improvement and continuous improvement, they can propose to reduce you. Now, next, don't be late to the exam. So don't miss the exam. Don't be late. That's the third thing that can affect you. And another one under the third thing about the exam, don't miss the exam. Don't go in there talking about money. Hey, I'm trying to save my 100% permanent total. That's the reason I'm here, doc, because I don't want to lose. Please, doc, don't say anything that's going to cost me 100% permanent total, because I got a house, I got kids in school, yada, yada, yada. That's not the place to be talking about that, okay? You say, ain't nobody doing that. Yes, I've known veterans to do that. And it backfired on them. Even after I told them not to do it. That's how hard-headed some people are. Number 4, the fourth thing that will affect your 100% permanent total status is the 20-year rule. Family, are we getting it done today? 20-year rule. Uh-oh, something done froze on me. Okay, with 20-year rule, we're dealing with a time limit. Remember that. I think I had it on a regular motion, like a regular video. Time limits. You got 20 years, and we're about to break down that 20-year rule. Now, the 20-year rule, we have the law at the bottom so you can see it. So if you want to confirm anything we're saying about this 20-year rule, because it's so important, I put the law 3.951, preserving of disability ratings. That's 20-year rule, preserve that rating. Now listen to what it says. A disability which has been continuously rated at or above an evaluation of disability for 20 years will not be reduced. So if you're at a certain level for 20 years straight, all right, at the lowest level, because you know your condition changes and fluctuate over time. I mean your rating may do that. You might have been 30%, went to 50%, then went back down to 30. So we're gonna talk about it, okay, family? We're gonna break it down. Don't worry about it. That's what we're here for. We've done it in the past, and we'll do it again. Now, so understand. Here's the actual law about 3.951, preserving of disability rating. A disability which has been continuously rated at or above an evaluation of disability for 20 years will not be reduced. Now, under this 20-year rule, service-connected VA disabilities rated at or above a specific rating percentage for at least 20 years, all right? Unless the rating evaluation was based on fraud. That's the game changer. The 20-year rule does not apply to new conditions that develop after the 20-year period. So if you come up with another condition after the 20-year period, that's your whole new 20 years for that condition. You locked in on the other 20 years, okay? Now let us continue here. This is how it works. So let's say in 2000, January 2000, you were 40%. Then you got reduced in 2004 to 30%. Then your percentage started going up and down. You went up to 60%, and then you were finally 100%. Then you got in 2024, you reduced back down to 80%. Now the lowest in a 20-year period, that would start at the 30% down to the 80%. So the lowest they can reduce you, that was a 20-year period, which was June 19, 2004 to September the 3rd, 2024, when you got the 80%. So that means the lowest they can reduce you to is 30%. So you're covered on the 20-year rule. Once you've had any condition for 20 years without it being reduced, you straight. Or in a 20-year period, what's the lowest rating you had in that 20-year period? And in this case, this person is 30%. So that's the lowest they can reduce them to. Come on now, family. Now, this usually doesn't happen, but we're trying to break it down. So that's like the reset button. Every time you get a percentage reduction, that's the reset of your 20 years start all over again. All right. So try to keep those rated. So for example, here with Mr. John Brown, he was 30% on February the 14th, 2005. So when does the 20-year rule lock in where he could never be reduced below 30%? Would be February the 14th, 2025, which would make 20 years, right? Same for his, well, he got unemployability. Now follow this. Even though he was 100% on, you see, I got it scratched out on 8/15/2014. That doesn't matter because they're going about how much you were paid at that percentage rate. So that's what keeps you there. So he actually was unemployable, granted June 19, 2010. So he gonna be solid on June 19, 2030, 20 years later. So even though he got his 100% permanent total after that, it doesn't matter because he was already being paid at the 100% rate with the unemployability. If that makes sense to y'all, give me a why. If it doesn't, let me know. I'll go over that more. So long as you get paid at whatever rate, that matters whether it's temporary or not. Let's say you had a unemployability rate for 20 years. That's temporary unemployability, individual unemployability for 20 years. Even though it's a temporary rating, because you paid at the 100% rate for 20 years, they can't mess with it. Now you won't be able to get the VA Chapter 35, so you may want the permanent total status. You can get that afterward. Yeah, so if let's say you go after you 20 years and you get the permanent total status. Well, they can take the permanent total status away, but they can't take away being paid at the 100% rate. Huh? Hope that makes sense. We'll talk about it more in the future. Now, here's the thing. When they do watch sometime, so the only thing that affects the 20-year rule is fraud. So if they find that they might watch it, they checking to see if fraud. Now, let's talk about fraud. Number 5, the 5th thing that affects your permanent and total rating. If you got it under fraudulent pretense or fraudulently signing documents. That's the 5th. We got one more after this. Now, fraud is the intentional misrepresentation of information to gain undeserved payment for a claim. So you actually doing something that's deceptive, that's untrue, in order to get paid, saying that you can't walk but you can, saying that you have PTSD but you don't have it, or they find you you say you have depression, but and from when you was in Desert Storm, but you were never in Desert Storm. That's fraud. Now, what happens is they gonna freeze that money, stop that payment, and because if you see the arrow, they always have you sign. This is where the fraud come in at. They make you sign saying the law provides a severe penalty. Hold on, let me pull this up on the full screen because I know it may be a little blurry, so be patient. You know what happened. At the bottom in red, it says penalty. The law provides severe penalties, which includes a fine, imprisonment, or both for the willful submission of any statements of evidence of a material fact known to be false. Now listen, family, I don't remember exactly what dates I was somewhere, so if I put a date on there, they can't hold it against me. But if that date was when I wasn't in the military and it was just, they can find me to be fraudulent, maybe, yeah. But if I got PTSD, I don't remember everything. So you know, but if they see deception, they have to have actual deception. Now, that's why I want to ask y'all now, what about that? If somebody say, well, hey, you know, this guy over here, this veteran or this lady, I think they're being fraudulent. What about that VA snitch line? Are there any times when we need to be, and I call it snitch line, but you know what I'm saying, I'm being a humorist. Is there any time, and they'll pay you. They'll pay you, but you got to be telling them something they don't know. Is there any time in y'all mind that certain people need to be turned in for exploiting the VA, or you believe that they are? And when are people overreaching? What do y'all think about the VA hotline where you can call in and tell on people? All right. Should we report fraud? Should we mind our business? What's y'all opinion on that? Let us know. If you think we should report, put an R in the chat. If you think you should mind our business, put a B in the chat. Mind our business. Let us know. Now, family, let us continue. Now, the whole thing is we as veterans, even when we're here, let me, I guess I can come up on the screen some. We need to be on code. I didn't mean to do it like that. We need to be on code with each other. We need to watch what we say. So Coasty say, I think I'm chilling. So he wouldn't report it. Why not? Even if they offer you them big dollars. I'm like, I don't want to know nobody. Don't be telling me whatever you doing, Slick, don't tell me, because I don't want no parts of it. I ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm chilling. I'm not, because I don't know, but it depends, because you have people steal millions of dollars from the VA. And is that hurting other veterans? So I'm kind of torn. Talk to me, family. And what is being on code with each other when it comes to veterans? The way y'all handle the channel when trolls come through. Ain't nobody cutting up. Y'all just sit back and chill. Let me handle the business. Now, just let us know how y'all feel about it. Now, the sixth thing. Okay, we on the sixth thing now. The last thing that that no matter what you do, whether you're 100% permanent and total, whether you've been having it for 20 years, and you under the 20-year rule, if you go to jail, we've talked about this. We have a full video on this. If you're 100% permanent total and you incarcerated for 61 days on a felony crime, you will be reduced to 10% while you're incarcerated, and you have to get it reinstated. Now, let's see. So he says, question, does the 20-year rule starts file date or award date? Now, listen, the date you file is the award effective date. So it's going to start on that day. Whenever it may be the date you file a claim. They might go back to the date that you actually got injured in the military if you just got out. So let's say you got out a year after you a year, and you file a claim a year after you got out of the military. Well, they may go back. Most time they're supposed to go back to when it happened to you while you were in the military. So that would be the start date. So, for example, let me see, can I go back to, because we want to cover this, family. Give me a second. I want to go back to give an example, okay? So let me go back. We're going to finish up number 6, but because this very important information, I'm glad you had a chance to. Let me go back to the, this is very important. Okay, I think I just seen it. Give me a second. And so I'm looking, okay. Yeah, I think that's it right there. That's not there. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, family, thank you for your patience. So I'm going to pull this up to answer the brother's question. So let's use Mr. John Brown in his decision letter. Your award effective date will be on there. His award effective date is August the 15th, 2014. Now, follow what I'm saying, Brother Zimmerman. He received this letter on November the 20th, 2015. So he received the letter a year or so later, but that doesn't matter. They have to go back to the date that he filed the claim in this particular case. Sometimes they may go back further. Okay? They got to go to your award effective date. Generally, is the day that you filed the claim. And he filed his November, Mr. John Brown filed his November the 20th, 2015. However, they have to go back to August the 15th, 2014 for his effective date. So the 20 years start on August the 15th, 2014. That's when it's 20 years for his 100% permanent total, because he did receive 100% permanent total. Let me know if that answers your question, my brother. Anybody else have any other questions regarding that? Because we have no problem breaking it down, but we want to make sure it's clear, and we'll do our best to make sure that we cover that in a timely manner. And I hope that helped others. Now, if that answers anybody else, any questions with that, let us know. And family, now we're going to go to the, okay, hold on. Now we're going to, he says that, okay, that answers question H-Town. Yes. So they have to go. So when you're talking about your 20-year rule, start with the date that they filed, that the award effective date, the date that your back pay start accumulating. Okay? So if you're getting back pay, that means your award effective date is not the date that you got approved for your claim. It's the date that you file your claim or the date of injury. Okay? Sometimes they go back to the date of injury. Watch our video, the 10 types of VA claims, and we go into detail about that. See, we cover it all here at the H-Town Vet. Now let's talk about the 6th thing that will lower your, let's get back to it, that will affect your 100% PNT status, being incarcerated for 61 days on a felony crime, not a misdemeanor, a felony. Now, if you go to jail, family, here's the rules. We talked about this before. Veterans rated 20 to 100% are limited to a 10% rating, disability rating. Meaning, if you go go there for what? You go there for a felony and you spend at least 61 days there. Now, let's say, what if you're 10% out? What you just 10%? Well, if you're already 10%, they're gonna cut that in half, and the current rate is $175.51. I can't cut the penny in half, so it's gonna be $87.75. You're gonna receive half of your 10% rating if you went into jail with a 10% rating. For veterans whose disability rating is 10%, their payment is reduced by 1/2. So nobody's planning on going to jail. We want y'all to stay safe, but you need to be informed. In addition to that, all of these, when you lose your 100% permanent total status, whether it's being incarceration or anything, it affects all of your benefits. So it may affect your disability compensation, how much you get paid, your education and training, Champ VA, or if you go into voc rehab, your health care, home loan, your insurance, the Champ VA insurance, not Champ VA insurance, the VA life insurance, you can call it VA life, vocational rehab, dependent benefits, and burial benefits. So you need to know you get incarcerated or losing your benefit or your permanent total rating, it can affect other things, especially Chapter 35 educational benefits for your children and Champ VA healthcare. But you need to get an apportionment and work that out. Go watch our video on about being incarcerated, and you'll learn more about that. Now, we went over everything, as you just see. We went over everything. We talked about the disability, the eligibility to Champ VA and DEA benefits. We talked about opening a new claim, failing to attend CMP exam. All these things affect your permanent total status. The 20-year rule time limit, submitting false evidence, incarcerated on a felony crime.